Hi everyone and welcome along to our Royal Ascot QIPCO British Champions Series preview.
It's 5 fantastic days of competitive racing, 30 races, and we'll be taking a look at the 7 British Champions Series races.
But before we get into the nuts and bolts of the 5 days ahead, let's reflect on the latest series of races from Epsom's Investec Derby Festival.
And they're off and racing. It is Tagruda who's been through the lead. Tarfasha, Volume, Inchilla running a massive race, trying to thread the needles. Tagruda it is who leads, with over a furlong to go by a couple of legs. From Volume, Tarfasha, Inchilla out of luck. Itimal stays on, but this at the moment is a one-filly race, and that one-filly is Tagruda, unbeaten, and Tagruda makes it 3 out of 3. Ambivalent with Sinister Zagra nosing to the front. Flicker continues to stay on, but it's Sinister Zagra who leads, edging back in towards the rail from Flicker as they enter the final furlong. Sinister Zagra by over a length. Flicker in second place, and it is Sinister Zagra, this wonderful grey trotter, who will win his 6th Group 1. They race now down with a furlong to go. It's Australia who is out in front. Kingston Hill in second place, and it is Australia forging clear. Violates also Kingston Hill is trying to rally. It was written in the stars, a day of destiny, and Australia follows in her parents' footsteps and wins an excellent classic.
The first race of Royal Ascot and the next race in the QIPCO British Champions Series is the Queen Anne, commemorating the monarch who established racing in Ascot over 300 years ago.
And it really gets the meeting off to a bang. Some of the world's best milers will be lining up, and it's Toronado who tops the betting, winner of the Sussex Stakes last year. Yeah, Toronado's the star horse in the list. No Dawn Approach for him to worry about, because Toronado and Dawn Approach gave us some wonderful races last year, including at Ascot in the St James's Palace. Dawn Approach is now retired, he's at stud, he's enjoying his life, so Toronado seemingly has got a free path to some big races throughout the course of the year. He looks $1 million according to those connected with him. The bookies have him near the top of the market, at the top of the market, and seemingly there's very flaws that he has. He didn't get home over 10 furlongs last time out, dropping back to a mile where he's at his best. He's going to take a world of beating. You've got the likes of Verrazani, you've got the South African runner Soft Falling Rain, but this does look to be Toronado's division this year, this miling division for the older horses. It looks to be Toronado's sort of to capitalise on without Dawn Approach. So fingers crossed we can see him back to his best, and when he is good, he's really good. It is an international lineup. Let's take a look at some of the contenders for this year's Queen Anne.
Dawn Approach now, coming down inside the final quarter mile to take it up. He goes on by 2 lengths to Declaration of War. Toronado is sent after him now. Dawn Approach in blue in front. Toronado, the grey jacket, coming down the centre. The 2 3-year-olds duel it out as they race inside the last 100 yards. Toronado's coming home strongly. He's grabbed the lead. It's Toronado's day. It's now top-notch onto Olympic Glory. Frankie kicks him into the lead, and here he goes. Olympic Glory is cleared away by 2 or 3 lengths. Tullius has come out of the pack to chase him. Verrazano is closing as well, but as they race towards the line, Olympic Glory gives Frankie Dettori a 4th lockage. Tullius in 2nd, Verrazano in 3rd, and Chopin ran 4th.
Variety Club in front. Soft Falling Rain comes after him. Great Lines a length away 3rd. They're 2 clear of Gold City. Variety Club led, coming to the 200 metres mark. He found a little. He's a length and a half in front of Soft Falling Rain and Great Line. Variety Club in front. 100 metres left to go. South Africa's horse, Variety Club, leads all of the way, wins the Godolphin Mile.
Well, we saw Soft Falling Rain there, a Grade 1 winner in South Africa. And earlier, I spoke to his trainer, Mike de Kock.
He's had an interrupted preparation. It hasn't been ideal. We were looking to go for the Lockinge, and unfortunately we couldn't because of the way it travelled. So, you know, you don't like going into these races with any doubt in the preparation. Unfortunately, we're going in this time not ideal. So we'll see how he goes. When everything's equal and everything's perfect with him, there's no doubt that he's a Group 1 horse. But he's got to have a lot go his way. He's not an easy horse, you know. He's not straightforward, and he likes it very, very fast and firm, which you don't often get here. So on ability, yes, but you know, a lot has to come together on the day for him.
Well, let's see what faces the runners and riders over the straight mile at Ascot in the company of Group 1 winning jockey John Reid.
We're down at the start for the Queen Anne. A mile straight. Looking up there, it looks a long way to the winning post. But the horses are coming in. They're ready to go. And we're off. And it's a steep climb up here. We're running up the middle of the track. We're going pretty quick, but we're trying to reserve a little bit for the final quarter of a mile. We've already passed the 5, and we're steaming ahead here. We're running up to the 4. We're going to get a little bit of a breather because it runs slightly, flattens out just a little bit before we finally get to the final climb. We're going quite well here. And the pace is really on. From the 3 pole here, there'll be no hiding place. Now we're going. You want to be within striking distance, but it's uphill and it's hard work, and the horses will start to tire. From here on in, they'll be starting to drop away. We passed the 2, now we've got to pick them up and get home. They're still slightly ahead on the inside. We get to the front pole. Now we flatten out a little bit. And if you can get your head in front here, there's a good chance you can keep it there because we're running really flat now. Half a furlong to go. I can see the post coming up, but these races are never won by far. I've got one a neck down, one a head down. Here's the post, and we're there.
We'll side glance. The Globetrotter will line up in the colours of Pearl Bloodstock, and I spoke to their representative, Hannah Wall. Well, Hannah, a big week for Qatar racing. How important is Royal Ascot for Sheikh Fahad and his brothers?
It's a huge week. I mean, it's a week that showcases the best of British racing. It's the best racing festival in the world, and it showcases it on a global stage around the world. It means a huge amount to Sheikh Fahad and his brothers, and they will be hugely looking forward to coming every day and supporting everything that is happening and a good contingent of runners this week.
And last year you had 2 winners during the Royal meeting. This year, how does your team compare?
I think we're probably going in with one of our strongest, or our strongest team so far. Still a few placings of horses in races that are to be decided, but we're pretty confident we've got them as well as we can anyway with what we've got, and we're happy going into it. We've got a strong team. And
a number of your sort of big guns run on the first day, the opening day, the Tuesday. Firstly, side glance in the opening race, the Queen Anne Stakes. How's he been?
He's in great form. He's a phenomenal horse for the travelling that he does. He's been an international flag bearer in the colours of Pearl Bloodstock for Sheikh Fahad, and his McKinnon win down in Australia, and he's been to Singapore and obviously Dubai again. He had a great run out there, so he owes us nothing, and it looks fantastic. He's working great, and we couldn't be happier with him going into the race.
The next race we're going to take a look at is the King's Stand over the Flying 5. A chance for the sprinters to shine, and it's Hot Streak who does look the real deal.
Hot Streak out in the centre, running a bit of a solo, is a couple of lengths clear. Pearl Secret chasing them with Justice Day, Justinio, Kingsgate Native and Mirza. Hot Streak leads a Qatar 1-2 at present. Pearl Secret is chasing and getting a bit closer. Hot Streak, Pearl Secret though, bearing down on him. Hot Streak, Murphy lays down the law, and Hot Streak wins the Temple.
It's amazing to think that Hot Streak is just a 3-year-old, because in relative terms, that's very young and inexperienced compared to some of his rivals. But already, Ali, on a number of occasions, this horse has shown plenty of speed and bags of talent. He's a future star.
Well, he got the better of Pearl Secret, the other Qatar runner at Haydock in the rain, but could be different if we get more of this sunshine. And also we've got last year's first and second home, Soul Power, and the South African runner Shay Shay, who was narrowly denied victory on the line. So it is a super competitive race. Yeah, we're all praying it stays like this. Glorious weather in the run-up to Royal Ascot. And Kevin Ryan said on a number of occasions after Haydock that it didn't matter what the weather threw at Hot Streak, he's got the tools to win, he's got the ability to win. I'm on Hot Streak. I think he'll take an awful lot of beating, and I'm hoping now that we can hear from Kevin Ryan, who can boost my confidence with regards to the chances of Hot Streak. He caught up with Tom O'Ryan.
He was very, very impressive at Haydock, come out of the race very well. You know, he's in great form. I would think he'll probably have improved a bit again, and really look forward to running him at Ascot. He's just a very uncomplicated horse. You know, he can sit on the pace, or you can drop him in. He'll get 6 furlongs as well. So, you know, he's just a very versatile horse. From day one, he always showed that he had an awful lot of ability, and he's such a lovely horse to train. You know, he doesn't give you a day's problem.
And going down to a place like Royal Ascot, big ordeal obviously for horses. He looks to have the temperament to cope with that.
Yeah, he's a great temperament, and you know, he's got course form, which is another bonus.
Well, Connections there pretty confident about Hot Streak, but so was Mike de Kock, the South African trainer who brings over Shay Shay and looking to go one better this year. Unlucky last year. How frustrating was it to be so narrowly beaten and win effectively on the far side?
Yeah, it is frustrating because it's a race we felt we had a very big chance of winning, and I must be honest, at the 200 I started thinking, geez, is this possible? I'm actually going to have a winner here. But you know, then he gets run out of it at the end. Yeah, we were down in the chops for about 5 minutes, and then we picked ourselves up, and you know, it's a sport at the end of the day. As long as he comes out of it fit and well. You're disappointed at the time, but you're also happy that you were competitive, you were there, and you participated.
And how's his build-up this year compared to last year?
I'd say similar. The only difference being that he didn't have a hard campaign in Dubai, whereas last year he did. So I'm hoping that'll help.
He'd fit and fresh.
Yes.
He'd be your best chance for a winner of the week.
Oh, there's no doubt, yeah.
Tuesday is packed full of excitement, and one of the highlights of the first day is the St James's Palace. And in 2014, the St James's Palace lineup will see a rerun of the QIPCO 2000 Guineas.
They run downhill and into the dip. Australia and Tourmore stand side with shifting power over on the far side. Nuso Canarius, and here's Kingman exploding for the far side group. Kingman's come through to lead that group with Night of Thunder Australia under the near side rail. Night of Thunder drifting over Australia and Kingman. They are wide across the course. Kingman, Night of Thunder dives, and I think won the Guineas.
Well, Kingman is the market leader for the St James's Palace Stakes, but Ollie, Night of Thunder got the better of Kingman at the Rowley Mile. Can you see it? Places reversing this time around?
To be honest with you, I can't. Now, going into this race, it's 1-1 because Kingman beat Night of Thunder in the Greenham. Night of Thunder beat Kingman, reversed the form in the QIPCO 2000 Guineas. I've got a theory on this race, and I cannot understand why Kingman is a shorter price than Night of Thunder. Now, I may very well get proved wrong because Kingman looked very good in Ireland. But Night of Thunder did so much wrong at Newmarket and still managed to win, and win pretty cosily in the end. He's gone from one side of the track to the other. He made an almighty move late on. So he's got lots of faults, but he was still good enough to beat him. Since Newmarket, Kingman, as I said, has gone out and won very impressively in Ireland. Night of Thunder's done nothing. He's just sat in his box, but his price has got bigger. So for me, I don't know why Night of Thunder is such a big price. I'd have Night of Thunder over Kingman all day long. I think he was the worthy winner of the Guineas. He's done a lot wrong. I can see him improving beyond that. And if you're asking me to sort of final 20 quid in the world, who am I going to have it on? Without a shadow of a doubt, I'd have it on Night of Thunder. He's a bigger price. In my opinion, he's a better horse, and I think he'll prove that once again at Ascot. Night of Thunder for you, Kingman for me, but it's not just a two-horse race. It is a head-to-head. Not just a two-horse race, though. Let's look at all the leading contenders.
Tourmore finding plenty on the far side from the Great Gatsby as they now enter the final furlong. Tourmore has got back on top again, goes 3 parts of a length clear the Great Gatsby, switched to the far side trying to fight back, but Tourmore is lengthening well and puts down his marker on the 2000 Guineas.
War Command is under pressure towards the outside, but is delivering a challenge. Then comes Outstrip, Cable Bay and War Command down with a furlong to go. Outstrip and Angel trying hard to get there. War Command in front, but it is a sitting shot as up the rails. Cable Bay tries to rally. Angel staying on stoutly. War Command is in command inside the last, however, and it's War Command, another Dewhurst for Aidan O'Brien.
We're going to move on to Wednesday now, and the feature on Wednesday is the Prince of Wales' Stakes. And if recent history is anything to go by, the French have an outstanding record in the race. And this year, coming over from France, is last year's superstar of flat racing. It's Trev, and she'll be giving British racing fans a first chance to see her in all her glory.
She's grown quite a lot, and she's stronger than last year. Absolutely. I'm very pleased the way she is.
You're beaten by a tough little horse in Cirrus des Aigles. Why do you think you were beaten?
He's more than tough. He's a fighter. I think I was beat because he had 2 races already this year, and she was, you know, coming in for the first time. The ground got very sticky. It's usually I don't like to take as excuse the ground, because good horses, they should act in everyone. But when you're not 100% fit, then the ground makes the difference.
Because that's the first time she's had to really
fight.
battle and fight,
absolutely,
isn't it?
Absolutely, and she did fight. You know, she really gave up 30 meters from the post. If not, she was there fighting.
So if some good could come out of that, she might have learned something from it as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, she got beat, she got beat. She got beat by a very good horse. Don't forget that horse, he was second to Frankel. He was, you know, he's been beat by very good horse. When he went to Dubai this year, he got beat by one of the best horse for the moment, that Japanese filly. She's a fantastic filly. So you can't, you know, he's tougher. He's an 8-year-old, she's 4. There's no disgrace to be second in the Ghanaian.
It was his ideal conditions as well.
It was his ideal condition, yes. When I saw the rain comes down like it did, I was a bit, you know, a bit worried of that, because then you have to be really 100% fit to fight. And she was not 100% fit. And it's normal, because, you know, you don't want her to be fit the first race and then... We're going to go to England in good ground at Ascot and move on. We won't change anything.
Trev, fantastic winning the Arc last autumn. Ollie, she's a superstar. Can you see her being beaten?
I can't, to be honest with you. I know she got beaten by Sirius de Zegler recently on her comeback run, but Sirius de Zegler is an 8-year-old and he keeps winning Group 1. So there's, look, I know people expected her to win, people wanted her to win. It was the first time she tasted defeat, but since then, Sirius de Zegler's won 2 more Group 1, so there's no shame really in being beaten by him. And they had such a, you know, it was a really thrilling horse race, watching them lock horns for so long up the straight in France. She is, as we saw in the Arc, as we saw throughout her 3-year-old campaign last year, she's a bit of a freak. She's a daughter of Motivator, who traditionally likes soft ground. So if there was to be one concern, it would be that this weather, and I'm not complaining at all, but if the only concern would be that the ground might be on the quick side for her, because most of Motivator's offspring like a bit of cut underfoot, like soft ground. But in terms of quality, she's the best horse in the race. But we've also got a Breeders' Cup winner in the form of Magician. We've got McAdram, who didn't get beat that far last year. So it's a good race, but for me, it's obvious Trev's going to take an awful lot of beating.
And a bit like Black Caviar and Frankel, she is the crowd puller. Everyone's going to want to get a glimpse of this French superstar running in the Prince of Wales Stakes on Wednesday.
The oldest race at Ascot is the Gold Cup, and it is the blue riband of the Royal meeting 12 months ago. It gave us one of the defining images of the modern-day Royal Ascot when Estimate won the Gold Cup for Her Majesty the Queen. Let's remind ourselves of that great moment once again.
Into the closing stages, Estimate and Simonon, top two trying to get on terms between those. Estimate, the red sleeve jacket, Simonon on the outside, racing the waterline. It's a happy and glorious day at Royal Ascot. Estimate has won the Gold Cup for the Queen.
Well, memorable pictures from last year, and she lines up again, Ollie, but can she do it this year, 2 times running?
Well, this year it's slightly different, Annie, because she's had I guess it was a sort of frustrating preparation, because she's had an injury and the training hasn't gone ideal. So Michael Stout has said recently in the build-up to the Royal meeting that actually she's starting to show some really positive signs now in the last sort of 2-3 weeks before the meeting. So fingers crossed, because I mean, those shots that you've just seen and that moment was unbelievable, and you know, everyone was cheering on Estimate, and it would be a fantastic achievement if she could do it again. She's got a chance, but preparation hasn't been ideal, that should be stressed.
And another headline horse, Brown Panther, owned by former England striker Michael Owen, pretty apt to do it if he goes and does it during the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly, a World Cup year, and Michael Owen's attention, I can guarantee you, will not be on football for the Gold Cup, because he will be firmly watching the race. This is a horse that he bred. It's remarkable, really. He's achieved so much throughout his sporting career, and now he's starting to achieve an awful lot in his new life, I guess, his new racing life as such. He bred this horse, born in his back garden, and 6 years later he's got a leading fancy for the Gold Cup. On this year's form, he's got to be one of the leading contenders. He has to be, because the form he's shown this year, he's improved this year. He's won some really good races, really tough races, and for me, he's the most likely winner, and it'll be great. And I know that one thing's for sure, Mike will be crying in the winner's enclosure if he does, as he was a few years ago.
Well, we've mentioned 2 of the runners in this year's race. Let's take a look at all the leading contenders for this year's Gold Cup.
Down they come towards the final furlong. Seismos looks well behind over on the far side, and it's Brown Panther who's struck for home. Brown Panther charging on up the Sandown Hill, chased by High Jinks. Seismos on the far side, Whiplash Willie staying on, but Brown Panther continues in tremendous form.
Down to the last furlong they come. Gospel Choir finds daylight. Tac de Boitron also running on. Gospel Choir into the lead, edging off a true line. Here's Tac de Boitron. Tiger Cliff with a thrust. Gospel Choir inching home from Tac de Boitron. Gospel Choir, Moore hits the high notes.
Well, on Friday, the feature race is for the fillies. It's the Coronation Stakes run over a mile. Let's take a look at the leading contenders.
Out in front, Mandalay giving a bold sight. Miss France is shaken up. Euro Charlene trying to come with a challenge. Itamar away to the far side in company with Joyeuse. Ritzina now under pressure. Mandalay being pressed by Miss France, Euro Charlene and Itamar as they run down into the dip. Then Lightning Thunder. Miss France and Itamar over on the far side of the two who forge on in the Guineas. The blue jacket of Itamar over on the far side. Miss France, Lightning Thunder finishing off strongly on the near side. Miss France just last home.
Well, Lightning Thunder's been bridesmaid twice this season. Ollie, can she go one better at Royal Ascot?
I really hope she does. I know that in our job we've got to sort of remain impartial, but if there's one horse who deserves a big race at Royal Ascot, it's Lightning Thunder. She's been touched off in the QIPCO 1000 Guineas. She was second in the slog of the Irish 1000 Guineas, so she's finished runner-up in 2 classics, both here in England and over in Ireland. She deserves to win a big one. She's got the talent, she's got the ability. We've seen on a couple of occasions already that she can produce on the big stage, so she ticks a lot of the boxes. The one concern would be, and we saw it with Marvellous in the Oaks, that race in Ireland was tough. The ground was desperate, they went a good clip. It may very well have taken a lot out of her. If she's fine, and if it hasn't taken anything out of her, she's going to be there or thereabouts at the finish, because in terms of ability, she would be the best, or certainly right up there with the best in that race. But you just got to keep your fingers crossed that whatever happened in Ireland didn't have any ill effects going to Ascot. But she's class and she deserves one. We're moving on to the final day now, and during the 5 days there are 2 big sprint races, Group 1 sprints, part of the Global Sprint Challenge. Kicking off with the King's Stand, but now we're going to focus our attentions on the second of the big sprints. This time over a furlong further, this one over 6 furlongs. It's the Diamond Jubilee.
Out in the centre of the racecourse, Slade Powers move through the lead. From Sirius Prospect, Hoop It and Racy, Jack Dexter and Victoria doing best of the standside group. Jack Dexter coming home strongly. Slade Power out in the centre of the racecourse. Jack Dexter now in full cry under the near side rail. Jack Dexter getting to Slade Power. The two of them have it between them. Slade Power, when joined, finds more. Jack Dexter struggling to get by. Slade Power, all heart, all out, wins. Eaton Rifles down the near side. Astaire went to the front, passing the furlong from Marek. SK Love still a bit short of daylight in behind, and then Mass Rally. Marek now putting it up to Astaire, then SK Love and Mass Rally. Marek asserting near the line, Astaire pestering, but Marek defies his penalty and wins the Duke of York.
Well, the Diamond Jubilee Stakes is the 7th and final British Champions Series race at Royal Ascot. And Ollie, if you can have just one bet, who would it be?
Well, I think I've nailed my colours to the Knight of Thundermast already. I know you quite like Kingman in that race, so we're going to lock horns, we're going to go head-to-head, but I think Knight of Thunder in the St James's Palace, I think he's the best bet of the week. And then if you want one at a price, no, we haven't touched on it, but the Wow Signal in the Coventry is a horse to look forward to. So I'll know my fate pretty early on in terms of how my bets go.
So will I. I'm going for Shay Shay in the King's Stand Stakes, both on the opening day there. But good luck if you're having a bet, and have a great day if you're planning on going to Royal Ascot. But from us, it's goodbye.